Retirement is supposed to be the golden years. Finally, time to breathe, to live for yourself. After decades of working, raising families, managing responsibilities, and running on the society's clock, you've earned the right to slow down. You wake up without an alarm clock. The day stretches wide open. There's no boss to report to, no deadlines to meet. And yet, for many, an unexpected feeling creeps in. Something hollow, something unsettling, a strange restlessness. Some call it boredom, others call it emptiness. But often it's something deeper. Why do some people feel more anxious, more withdrawn, or even more lost after retirement when peace is supposed to be the reward? The answer lies in quiet traps, psychological ones, that sneak in unnoticed and slowly chip away at your inner calm. These aren't the dramatic breakdowns or loud crises. They're subtle. They come in the form of thoughts, habits, and hidden expectations. Deep-rooted beliefs that whisper, "You're not needed anymore," or "Your best days are behind you." Today, let's gently uncover the mental habits that silently destroy inner peace after retirement and how you can avoid falling into them. Whether you're newly retired or have been for years but still searching for balance, this reflection might help you see things differently. Because peace in retirement isn't automatic. It's a choice, a mindset. And with the right awareness, it's absolutely within reach. Before we dive deeper, take a moment to follow this channel if you find comfort and insight in conversations like these. We talk about the real emotions, the quiet battles, and the inner strength that comes with age. And while you're here, I'd love to hear from you. What has surprised you most about retirement? Has peace been easy or harder to find than you expected? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story might help someone else feel a little less alone. Number 1, the trap of loss of identity. For decades, your identity might have been wrapped around a single role: engineer, teacher, nurse, small business owner, or perhaps a homemaker who held everything together. Each morning, your calendar gave you a reason to get up. You were needed. You were known. There was a place to go, a nameplate on your desk, a purpose that called your name. And whether you loved your job or simply tolerated it, it gave you a sense of being someone in the world. Then retirement arrived, and with it, silence. Suddenly, the structure that shaped your days is gone. No more Monday meetings, no performance reviews, no coworkers calling your name. Just an empty kitchen table, a slow morning, and a strange feeling that you're floating, untethered. That's when the question creeps in, quietly but relentlessly. Who am I now? It's a question that shakes even the strongest spirits, especially if you've never had to answer it outside the context of work or duty. This is the psychological trap of losing identity. It doesn't hit like a loud crisis, but more like a slow erosion. One day you're celebrating your last day at work, smiling for photos and cake. A few weeks later, you realize no one is asking for your opinion anymore. Your phone buzzes less. Your name carries less weight in the world outside. And worst of all, you may start to feel invisible, even in your own home. Let's be clear. This feeling is normal. It's not a sign of weakness. In fact, it shows how deeply you poured yourself into the things you did. But that's exactly why it's dangerous. If we only see ourselves through the lens of what we did, we lose sight of who we are. And without intentional reflection, this trap can drain your confidence, create restlessness, and even open the door to depression. But here's the truth. You were never just your job. You were always more. You were a friend, a partner, a storyteller, a learner, a person of wisdom and experience. Retirement doesn't erase your past. It expands your future. It gives you the chance to rediscover the parts of yourself that may have been left behind during years of obligation and responsibility. This is your time to ask new questions. What have I always wanted to explore? What talents have I neglected? What brings me joy outside of usefulness? Maybe it's writing. Maybe it's mentoring others in your field. Maybe it's woodworking or gardening, or simply sitting by the window with a cup of tea and letting your thoughts breathe for once. Identity can be rebuilt, not through titles, but through meaningful activity. Many people find deep fulfillment in becoming a mentor or volunteer. Your decades of experience are gold to someone just starting out. Sharing your story, your mistakes, your insight, it matters. In fact, it can be life-changing for someone else. And when you contribute in ways that reflect who you are inside, not just what you used to do, you'll feel your self-worth naturally return. Others reclaim their identity through creativity. They paint, sing, write memoirs, or take up photography. There's a reason art therapy is so powerful. It allows us to express who we are, not just what we've done. You don't have to be good at it. You just have to be honest. And in that honesty, peace begins to grow again. The trap of lost identity only has power if we let it define the next chapter. But you are the author now. You've already written an incredible life. This next part can be whatever you want it to be. Identity is not a thing of the past. It's something you continue to shape day by day with every small choice you make. So the next time you feel that question rise, who am I now? Answer it with gentleness. You are more than your job, more than your title, more than your routine. You are still here, still valuable, still becoming. And that is not the end of your identity. It's the beautiful beginning of a new one. Number 2, the trap of emotional isolation. Retirement often creates more space, but not always more connection. In fact, for many older adults, the sudden abundance of time can come with a hidden cost. Silence. The phone rings less. Invitations slow down. The familiar routines that once involved coworkers, morning greetings, or friendly check-ins begin to fade. What's left can feel like an overwhelming quiet, and while silence can be peaceful, it can also be painfully lonely. Friends who once felt close may have moved away, downsized, or faced their own health struggles. Adult children grow into busy adults with families of their own, trying to balance careers and parenting. They mean well, but weeks can pass with only a quick text or a short call. This isn't about blame, it's about reality. Life changes, and sometimes it pulls people apart before we even notice it happening. Loneliness is one of the most underestimated killers of peace. It doesn't shout. It doesn't arrive all at once. It slips in through small moments. An empty chair at dinner, a birthday forgotten, a morning without a good morning. Emotional isolation is not just the absence of people, it's the absence of feeling connected. You can be surrounded by people and they still feel invisible if no one really sees you. And this kind of isolation doesn't just affect the heart. Studies have shown it affects the body too, raising the risk of heart disease, memory loss, and even mortality. It's a quiet threat, but a serious one. After decades of living, working, and caring for others, no one should spend their later years feeling cut off. But the good news is, this trap can be disarmed. Stay ahead of it. Don't wait to be invited. Be the inviter. Call someone first. Reconnect with an old friend, even if it's been years. Chances are they've been feeling the same kind of distance, but were just unsure how to reach out. Taking the first step doesn't mean you're desperate. It means you're courageous. It means you value connection over pride. Even small actions can build bridges. Join a community group, maybe at the local library, senior center, or faith community. Try something new like a book club or walking group. If mobility is an issue, virtual spaces can be just as powerful. Online forums, video chats, or even writing handwritten letters can light that spark of human warmth again. Sometimes the simplest interaction, a smile, a shared memory, a laugh, can shift a whole week. Technology, for all its challenges, can also be a lifeline. Learning how to use video calls, join social apps for seniors, or participate in online classes can turn solitude into opportunity. It might feel awkward at first, but learning something new is itself a form of empowerment, and connection is worth the effort. You're never too old to meet new people or to feel understood. And let's not forget, companionship doesn't always come in human form. Pets, especially cats and dogs, can fill a deep emotional need. They offer presence, routine, and unconditional love. Gardening, art, music, these aren't just hobbies. They're emotional companions too. They keep your spirit engaged, your heart open, and your mind alive. You are not forgotten. You are still needed. Sometimes we just have to remind the world that we're still here, still vibrant, still full of stories, still offering wisdom that only years of living can provide. Don't underestimate the quiet power of your presence in someone else's life. What seems like a small gesture from you could be the lifeline someone else needs. Emotional isolation is a trap, but one that can be escaped. It takes intention, not perfection. It takes reaching out, not retreating. The world needs your voice, your laughter, your experience. You're not alone in feeling alone, but you can be the one who breaks the cycle, who dares to connect again, and finds peace, not just in quiet, but in companionship. Number 3, the trap of too late thinking. Many people believe that growth ends at a certain age, that if you didn't achieve something by 60, it's too late. Society subtly reinforces this idea, highlighting the young, celebrating early success, and rarely showcasing stories of late bloomers. This messaging creates a quiet pressure, one that whispers, your time has passed. But that couldn't be further from the truth. This kind of thinking, too late thinking, is a psychological trap. It convinces you that the best parts of life are behind you, that your dreams are outdated, and that your curiosity is irrelevant. It makes you question your potential, even though nothing about your ability to grow, create, or contribute has disappeared. It's a lie wrapped in a familiar feeling, fear of wasting time. But some people wrote books at 70, learned to paint at 75, fell in love again at 80. Take Laura Ingalls Wilder, who published her first Little House book at age 65, or Harry Bernstein, who wrote his best-selling memoir, The Invisible Wall, at age 96. These aren't exceptions because of luck. They're reminders that life continues to offer chapters, if you're brave enough to turn the page. Age doesn't close doors. Mindset does. When you believe you're too old, you stop reaching, you stop risking, and you stop imagining new versions of yourself. But the truth is, you are still becoming. Every experience you've lived has equipped you with wisdom, insight, and emotional depth that younger versions of yourself never had. That's your superpower, not a limitation. Peace dies when we stop believing in tomorrow. This kind of mental resignation is like spiritual rust. It creeps in slowly and corrodes your passion. But peace can be restored when you choose to believe in possibility again. When you try something new, not to prove anything to anyone else, but to feed the joy of being alive. Learning to dance, writing poetry, adopting a new hobby, it all counts. Many retirees hold dreams they buried out of guilt or fear. Maybe you've always wanted to open a small shop, or travel alone, or write down your life story for your grandchildren. Those dreams might feel too big now, but the only thing that stands between dreaming and doing is a shift in mindset. Start small. You don't need to finish the whole journey in a day. Just take the first step. One of the most healing things you can do after retirement is rewrite the inner narrative. Instead of saying, I wish I had done this 30 years ago, try saying, I'm grateful I still get to try. Gratitude for time is powerful. It helps you recognize that the clock hasn't stopped ticking in your favor. It simply runs at a quieter, more thoughtful pace now. Think of your life not as a decline, but as a deepening. In youth, everything is fast, loud, and wide. But later in life, things become richer, slower, and more meaningful. This is the season of intentional living, where what you say, do, and choose carries weight. There is incredible dignity and freedom in that. You are not past your prime. You're in your prime of wisdom. If someone told you it's too late to change, they were wrong. And if your own thoughts have been telling you that lately, maybe it's time to challenge them. You are still here. You still breathe. You still feel. That alone makes this moment worthy of something new. Your second act, or even your third or fourth, could be the one that brings the most fulfillment. If you're alive, you're still becoming. That's the gift of every breath. No matter your age, the human spirit was made to evolve. Whether you're 65 or 95, you are not done. So don't let a number define your worth. Let your heart and your curiosity decide what comes next. Number 4, the trap of comparison. You look around, others are traveling, building vacation homes, showing off grandchildren. Social media makes it worse. Photos of smiling families on cruise ships, golden anniversary parties, and backyard barbecues flood your screen. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, did I do enough? Am I enough? Even if you were once confident in your life choices, retirement has a way of opening quiet spaces where those old insecurities come back to whisper. What's dangerous is how subtle it all feels. You're not trying to compare, but you can't help it. You see your former coworker's new RV or your neighbor's frequent visits from their children, and suddenly your own life feels less shiny. That comparison doesn't just rob you of joy. It corrodes your peace slowly. It turns moments of gratitude into feelings of inadequacy. And the saddest part, it's usually based on illusions. Comparison is a thief of joy at any age. But after retirement, it becomes even more dangerous because it attacks your sense of value when your roles and responsibilities have already shifted. During your working years, identity was often tied to productivity. Now it can be harder to measure self-worth, so your brain starts looking outward, measuring sideways. That's when comparison pounces, right when your inner compass is adjusting. But here's the truth. No one posts the full picture. Behind the smiling cruise photos may be financial stress. Behind the weekly grandkid visits may be loneliness in other areas. Behind someone's perfect retirement may be health issues or regrets they never voice. When you compare your quiet reality to someone else's curated highlight reel, you set yourself up for unnecessary pain. You're comparing their best 10 seconds to your full 24 hours. It's also worth remembering that fulfillment isn't always loud. It's not always captured in photos. Sometimes peace looks like reading a book in your favorite chair, taking a morning walk, or sharing coffee with a longtime friend. These quieter joys might never make it online, but they hold just as much weight. In fact, many people in their 70s and 80s reflect and realize it was the ordinary moments that mattered most. Retirement isn't a competition. It's not about who travels the most, spends the most, or has the busiest calendar. It's about alignment between what matters to you and how you live your days. If your definition of success is peace, health, and meaning, then you're doing just fine. Someone else's pace or priorities don't make yours any less valid. They're just different routes, not better ones. The trap of comparison often feeds on silence. We don't always talk about what retirement really feels like. We don't confess the days we feel invisible or doubt ourselves. So we assume we're the only ones struggling, but you're not. Millions of retirees feel these same tugs inside, questioning their value, wondering if they're doing retirement right, and just saying that aloud can loosen the grip of shame. One powerful way to fight this trap is to return to your own values. Ask yourself, what do I truly care about now? What makes me feel alive, useful, connected? When your life reflects your answers to those questions, the noise of comparison starts to fade. You stop chasing someone else's dream and start embracing your own peace. Gratitude also plays a key role. Not the shallow kind, but the deep kind. The kind where you sit quietly and take inventory of everything you once wished for and now have. The roof over your head, the time to rest, the wisdom you earned the hard way. Gratitude is not blind. It doesn't ignore what's hard, but it reminds you that your life still holds beauty, sometimes right under your nose. Your journey is uniquely yours. The slower walks, the quiet mornings, the little joys, Those are just as worthy as any cruise or flashy milestone. Don't let comparison rewrite the story of your life. You've earned every line, every chapter, every lesson. And peace comes when you finally say, "This is enough. I am enough." Number 5, the trap of regret loops. You replay decisions, careers, relationships, missed chances. Regret can become a nightly visitor, whispering, "What if?" Sometimes it arrives uninvited, sometimes you summon it without realizing. When a song triggers a memory or a conversation reminds you of a fork in the road you didn't take. These moments can turn into long loops, rewatching scenes from your life with a critical eye, wishing you had known then what you know now. You might find yourself thinking, "If only I had chosen a different job, stayed in that marriage, or spent more time with my kids." These thoughts feel heavy. They cloud your present and drain the joy out of the now. Regret, if left unchecked, becomes more than just a reflection. It becomes a habit, and sometimes even an identity. But here's the truth. None of us escape life without missteps. They are part of the human contract. We often judge our past selves by standards we didn't have at the time. We look back with today's wisdom and scold who we were back then. But that's not fair, is it? You made the best decisions you could with the awareness, maturity, and circumstances you had at the time. You were doing the best you could. That's not weakness. That's survival. That's being human. Regret can disguise itself as responsibility, as if punishing yourself somehow redeems the past. But it doesn't. It only robs the present. Carrying guilt doesn't undo what's been done. It only guarantees you miss what is happening now. Peace begins when we stop asking our past to be perfect, and instead start offering it compassion. Instead of replaying what went wrong, try asking a different question. What did I learn? Even the deepest regrets carry a gift. Maybe you learned resilience. Maybe you became a more thoughtful parent or a better friend because of a mistake made long ago. Your regrets don't define you. What you do with them does. For some, regret shows up strongest at night when the world quiets down. You lie in bed and the mind starts its marathon. You revisit moments you haven't thought about in decades. You feel old wounds open. If that's you, know that you are not broken. You're remembering. But memory isn't always truth. It's colored by emotion, hindsight, and age. Sometimes what you think was a failure was actually a turning point in disguise. Forgiving yourself doesn't mean forgetting. It means letting go of the expectation that you should have known better. It means acknowledging that the version of you from years ago was still learning, still growing, still trying. Just like you are now. And if you can show compassion to a friend or a child who made a mistake, why not to yourself? You deserve rest from the burden of should-haves. Life after retirement is not a place for shame. It's a time for reflection, gentleness, and freedom. If you're still here, still breathing, that means your story isn't over. And maybe your next chapter is about learning how to live with your past, not erase it. In fact, some of the wisest, kindest people are those who carry regrets, but have chosen to turn them into wisdom, into guidance for others. Maybe you'll be the one who tells a younger person, "I've been there. You're not alone." And maybe that simple act of sharing will heal you too, in ways you never expected. Peace comes not from erasing the past, but from forgiving it and yourself. You are allowed to rest now. You are allowed to breathe, and you are allowed to look back without pain. Your peace is not in the past. It's here, in this moment, where you choose grace over guilt. Retirement isn't the end. It's a transition. And like every transition, it brings both beauty and challenge. Watch for the traps, name them, and step around them with grace, because you deserve peace, not just in your schedule, but in your soul. You've spent a lifetime caring for others, fulfilling responsibilities and meeting expectations. Now this chapter is about coming home to yourself. Peace isn't found in perfect days. It's found in quiet acceptance. in letting go, and in choosing what truly matters to you. So take the walk, write the letter, call the friend, watch the sunrise, forgive the past, and most of all, be gentle with yourself. Thanks for spending this moment with me. Keep choosing peace, one day at a time. Because even now, especially now, you are still growing, still becoming, and still deeply, deeply worthy